Hi boys and girls, welcome back to art. This week we are going to talk about landscape art. Now landscape art has a special key word, land. It is when an artist paints a picture of something that includes the ground. And if you look at landscape art, it usually has the land and whatever's on the ground, the trees, maybe some houses, and it includes the sky. Let's get started. For your landscape today, you are going to focus on a couple key parts. You can see where I've incorporated a desert landscape. You can change up your idea, but the one thing I really want you guys to be able to do is show the distance. So in my picture, we have in the foreground, that is the front right here, the biggest cactus, we have a big rock and an agave plant. The middle ground, and in the middle ground we have some medium-sized cactus and our water. And in the background of our landscape, we have our smallest cactus. Another part that is very important in a landscape is called the horizon line. The horizon line is where the mountains and the sky meet. Anything below the horizon line is going to be on the ground because gravity pulls us down. So your cactus, your people, your houses, your mountains, anything above the horizon line is going to be the clouds, the sun, whatever's in the sky, okay? For your landscape, I'm going to introduce you to something called perspective. And perspective is something that artists use to show the distance, showing objects getting smaller in the back. And you can tell in this corner of our artwork, it looks like the water has kind of gone away, and it's just an area or a point where our perspective has gotten so small, we've created such distance that it's so far away we can't see it. So objects that are far away are very small, and objects that are close are really big. All right, let's get started. For our desert landscape today, we are going to make some cactus that are in the front of our landscape. That's where objects are the largest. In the middle of our paper, we are going to do our middle ground where objects are starting to get smaller and they are medium-sized. In the back or the background, that's where our objects will get even smaller. So our goal is if we went outside and we went for a walk and we looked down the street, we would notice that objects far away appear smaller and objects that are up close are bigger. And that's what we want to see in our picture today. And we're going to take it one step further by adding a 1-point perspective, which is this water here that almost disappears into a point. So I'm just kind of introducing this term to you. On my example here, I have the water going off to the side. In the new example that I'm going to model today, I'm going to have it kind of coming up through the middle. So we'll see the difference. To get started, you're going to need a pencil, a white piece of paper. You can use crayons to color with, markers, colored pencils, and something to outline your image with. I like a black Sharpie, but if you don't have that, it can be a black colored pencil, black crayon, black marker. So get your materials and we'll get started. So with our picture, I'm going to find my halfway point. So I have a horizontal layout, and I'm gonna fold my paper in half. And right here is going to be the horizon line. So I'm just gonna make it kind of wavy or hilly. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. And we talked about that point that one point perspective where everything disappears. Again, I'm gonna make this kind of wavy because this is gonna be where the water flows. And I can make some wavy water lines. And I can have my big cactus in the foreground, medium cactus in the middle ground, and tiny cactus in the background with the mountains. So I'm gonna kind of have my mountains coming up and down with mountains. You know, it's an organic shape, so it doesn't have to be a perfect triangle. So I have some kind of going up and down here, and I have them separated because if I walked down here, the water would still be there and it'd actually be larger, and I'm allowing that space beyond the mountains for the water to flow. I'm gonna have the sun setting over here, maybe some birds in the sky, and some clouds. So to start with the cactus, again, I'm gonna do maybe 2 in the front that are large. And so this one I'm gonna do the saguaro cactus. The saguaro cactus is a common cactus we have in the Sonoran Desert, and I want to make it about 2 fingers wide. So I'm gonna make a mark on each finger, and I want it to go up a little bit below my horizon line. And I'm gonna use 1 finger and kind of bring out an arm. Watch that step again. So I make a mark on the outside of the arm and I bend it up. And then up close, when you look at a cactus, sorry, not a cattail, a cactus, you can see the ribs of the cactus. And those ribs are really important because they're kind of sponge-like and they absorb the water so that the cactus can stay alive in dry months. Then the cactus has little spikes on it. I'm going to use just short little dashed lines to add that detail. And you can get as creative as you want with your cactus. Mine's pretty simple and pretty boring. There are some that have lots of arms or have flowers or fruit that bloom off of them, so get creative. Over on this side, I'm going to change it up a little bit. In my other example, I had a rock and like a different agave. You can add that if you want. I'm gonna keep it a little low. Reason is if I have another big saguaro cactus here, I'm gonna have some difficulty starting to see those medium size and small shapes. And I really want to keep my cactus in the front and in the middle and in the back kind of the same, to show that it's the same object but it's getting smaller the further we go back. So I'm just gonna add kind of a gray rock here with some spiky agave. I can add some other rocks. And now I'm gonna start with maybe my medium-sized cactus over here because I have some good space. So I'm gonna draw a little line for the ground and I'm gonna go up 1 finger, so that was 2. And I'm gonna go up past that horizon line and down. I'm not gonna use my finger, I'm just gonna do my very best to make an arm and then make another arm. And I'm gonna add a 3rd arm to this one. And I'm gonna go and erase that horizon line. And this one I'm gonna add the spines, but I'm not gonna add the spikes because you aren't gonna see those that far away. So I'm starting to lose some detail. Now, I have to find a location. I'm gonna add maybe 2 small cactus. And I already erased that little area because I know I'm gonna have my vertical cactus and my arm. I'm not gonna add anything inside it, no spikes, no spines, because it's far away and I can't see that detail. I'm gonna add another one a little bit lower. So these are just the tiny ones far back. But again, we know if we get back there, they're gonna be large like this. And oh my goodness, we already finished drawing our desert landscape. It has the 1-point perspective, big cactus in the foreground, medium-sized cactus in the middle ground, small cactus in the background. My other example had the 1-point perspective coming off to the side. That's something you can add as well if you'd like. Now, all we have to do to finish our lesson is outline it in the Sharpie and start coloring it. Okay, so I have everything outlined in my Sharpie. I really sped that along, and at this point in the video, if you want to stop and just color it on your own, you can. Get away from a little bit of a computer screen, take a break. Like I said, you can color with crayons, color pencils. I'm gonna show you some color mixing techniques. So for example, I'm gonna get my green and my yellow. And in the little desert agave I have here, I'm gonna add yellow in the middle. And then on the outside, I'm gonna add my green. It's always fun to mix colors, create some light and dark areas, some value in your artwork. And if you look, a desert can be kind of brown. So instead of having like a brown ground, brown mountains, you can see here I used some different color browns and coloring the mountains. I broke it up by having brown down here and then mixed the green and brown. You can make your cactus different shades of green if you have that in your color pencils and crayons. Markers are a little bit limited in colors, but I'd like to see some really higher level coloring here. Again, this takes time, so take breaks when needed and don't rush through it. I'm excited to see what you create. So I'm also thinking about the direction of things, the ground and the direction of the dirt. I'm gonna make horizontal. My water, how I want that to flow.